So I am on part 3 of my Proverbs 31 woman devotional thing, and I've really kind of had to stop and think about what I was going to talk about for verse 3. Verse 3, well, it's actually verse 12. Reads for this is Proverbs 31 verse 12. She will do him good and not evil all the days of her life. And I think what kind of got me thinking about this was, like, automatically I was like, I'm not evil. I don't do evil. Because when I think of evil, I'm like, I don't know, like people who do like mass shootings or, like bombings and like really dramatic things. Especially in these days, that doesn't really, it's not really odd to see evil acts. And then that kind of led me to think about, all right, well, there are definitely evil people out there. And then I was like, you know what? I honestly don't even, I don't think there are evil people either. I think that most of the time when people are sociopaths or, just screwed up and do really like nasty things, they're not right. And that doesn't necessarily mean that they're evil. It just means that they have a chemical imbalance. They're like super troubled. They're mentally ill. Like these are things that don't classify you as evil. No one's evil. I think that the people, even the ones who do really bad things, somewhere, I like to think this, and this is kind of what keeps me going, but somewhere in those people there's good. There's a lot of built up things that I'm sure happen in a lot of people's lives like that. Like, I used to do really bad things. I mean, evil things to my mom and my family, and I wasn't evil. I just had a lot of anger and I had a lot of hurt, and I dealt with it. And not everyone is lucky enough as I am to deal with their issues. So there was that. So anyway, so I started doing some digging. Like, well, if I don't think I'm evil and no, blah, 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 what does the Bible mean by do your husband no evil? And I was like, all right. So I was, I dug around, Googled some stuff, and I found a list of 10, and it even quoted evil things that you find in humanity, and just, everyday things. And as I read through this list, everything kind of started to click, and what I wanted to talk about became a lot clearer. So I'm just going to read them off to you, and I'm going to pick a few of them that I really wanted to talk about. But there's jealousy, competitiveness, mercilessness, manipulative, clinginess, materialism, foolishness, overcritical or overcriticism. That doesn't sound right. Overcriticism. Superiority complex, and vengeance. So, one of the main ones that I wanted to the first one I wanted to talk about was jealousy. And jealousy is such an innate thing in a relationship. Like, it is poison. It was something that I struggled with Jordan before I kind of came to terms with a relationship, before I found God. I know this sounds, silly saying it, but it's hard dating a really good-looking person because they get hit on a lot. That's basically it. They get hit on a lot. And if you're not secure in your relationship, that gets to your head. And that's why it's important to go back to what I said a couple videos ago of be with somebody who you're the center of their life, because that will take away every single bit of jealousy, period. Having complete and total trust and knowing that you are the center of their earthly life. It doesn't matter what comes to him. I know I'm his. And I think that if everyone can stop and really sit down and know that, and really, like, because I still get thoughts, when things happen, and I get bitter for a second, and right when I do that, I stop, and I'm like, that's the devil. That's the devil. And if you can sit down and really peg those thoughts when they come into your head, and like grab them by the neck and be like, I'm not going to think that, and just like vanquish it from your mind, that will be a game changer in your relationship. I promise you. So, competitiveness. I don't really experience this a lot because him and we're just different in everything we do. Lifting, like, he lifts like 8,000 times more than I do. We're in different fields. It just, we don't really have a lot of competitive nature, but if you are someone who looks at your spouse or boyfriend and gets jealous when, they're doing well, or like they get a raise, and you're like, well, why don't, you just be happy. You guys are on the same team. That's such a big thing, is you're on the same team. So there's no point in the competitiveness. You guys should be each other's biggest cheerleaders. Like, when, something great happens, like, okay, so granted, I did turn down the sponsorship because I didn't want to powerlift, but he's on a powerlifting team that pays for his supplements and stuff. And at first I was like, I don't want to pay for my supplements. But at the same time, I was like, psh, that's my boyfriend. I can still scoop protein from him anytime I want. Like, you have to have that you're a team mind and get rid of the competitiveness. I mean, there's always fun competitiveness, but never take it to that level to where it gets you salty. Because that's manipulative. That's a big one. Manipulation, especially if you're dating someone or married to someone who's very kind-hearted. That's evil. Like, that's doing something to kind of twist and turn that person to do what you want. I don't know. I'm not about that. Like, that's one of the biggest things in people. I know my sister's never going to watch this, so I'm going to just say it. She is a manipulative person, and it makes me want to strangle her. Like, bad. I cannot stand manipulative people. Because that's evil. It really is. It makes me really upset. And if you're like that, you need to stop, because that's no good. That's fake. That's I don't know. I don't really have much. I mean, most of these things, it's just kind of like my thoughts, but it's just like, these are the things that if they're in your relationship, that's evil. You're doing evil upon the other person. So don't manipulate your spouse if they're really nice. Let them spoil you and let them, do whatever they want to do, but don't. Being overcritical, that was something that Jordan and I dealt with when, before I was saved, was we're at different places in life. I've been in the Coast Guard. I've been on my own since I was basically 17 years old. Been through a lot of experiences, and there was a lot of things that he had, like, I mean, credit, for instance. He's starting to establish his credit. And he had told me a few times that, I would say things that made him feel stupid. And it wasn't my intention, but it was just like, it's just how he felt. And it was because I would say things that were kind of like critical, like, what do you mean you don't know that? Like, and to me, I'm kind of a really, like, harsh person. Not harsh, but I'm abrasive with, like, things that I say sometimes, because I'm really blunt. And he's super just, like, I don't know, he's just a really nice guy. So I would say something that to me wouldn't be really harsh, but to him it would, and he'd feel like I was criticizing him. And that was something that really took a toll on our relationship. So don't be that person. If you're with somebody and you're in that situation, let them make their mistakes. Be there for them when they come to you like, I don't know what I'm doing. And don't ever be like, I told you. Because what does that do? It does nothing but, push that person away to where they don't feel like they can turn to you anymore. And that's not a good relationship. So don't be critical. I mean, you can have constructive criticism, but know what's good and know what's not good. And then the superiority complex, I think I could see that in a relationship for stay-at-home moms. They get that from husbands, stuff like that. But if you have a stay-at-home husband, and you have the job, and don't throw that in his face. When Jordan gets successful, he's going to be the breadwinner, and I don't think he would ever, use that. But I know that there are some relationships and some families where the woman is the breadwinner. And if you are, never hold that over their head. If your husband's a stay-at-home dad, I mean, that's a tough job. I don't know what it's like. I only have Deli. He doesn't do nothing. He's very easy. So just never hold your status in the household, and just, I mean, the Bible says the man is the head of house. Respect that. And without sounding, without all the feminists being like, oh my God, like, let him be head of house and know your position as the wife and the mother, or, if you don't have kids, whatever. But never hold your position above their head, because that's not going to do anything for either of you. It's just going to make them feel inferior. And if you've ever been made feel inferior, you know how bad it sucks. Sucks. So, and then vengeful. If they make you mad, just be slow to anger. Talk about it. Don't seek revenge on them. I was telling Jordan, I know this couple who the girlfriend found out the boyfriend was cheating on her, so she went out and cheated on him, and now they're both just, it's ridiculous. Like, that, two wrongs don't make a right. If you care about your relationship and they do something to hurt you, you talk about it. If it's a true, relationship, you'll get past it. But you have to talk about it like adults. You can't do this, just because something gets hard, you break up. Like, that's what's wrong with relationships these days, is so many people are just, like, all about, like, themselves. So that was just a couple that I wanted to run through. But that's what evil is to me. These kinds of behaviors. If you're doing anything with, malicious intent, I looked up the definition too. It says profoundly immoral or malevolent. If you're doing anything that you intentionally want to hurt the person, that's evil. Don't do that. So, and if you are someone like that, you need to not date anyone and just be miserable alone. So, anyways, that's my thought on verse 12. So, I hope you guys enjoy it. And, yeah, until next time, have a good one.